Hey guys, I'm back again with another journaling video. This area does look a bit of a wreck, and it's one of the reasons why I got into journaling, because I wanted to be able to better manage this space. What is this space? This is the equivalent of a basement. It's also known as an underhouse, so I'm actually underneath where I would normally be for most of my YouTube videos. I'm not exactly underneath where I would normally be, that's that way a bit. But effectively, I'm sitting underneath the entire house. This house sits on cement posts, kind of like stilts. And this is an area that's big enough you can park vehicles under it and have a workshop here. And so far, for the most part, I haven't really done a lot with this space. So it's been a bit of a sore point for me. And I started doing journaling for a lot of reasons, and this is one of the reasons, so I can like kind of get to some of these happy little cobwebs that we see, and some of the disorganized books and disheveled shelves and things like that. So things are rolling, things are moving forward, which is good because now I can actually get around to focusing on this area, and this area is just as big as the actual functioning living part of the house itself. So it's like having two houses to clean because you've got the entire underhouse and all that it entails, which is a completely different set of cleaning skills and cleaning tools as what is required upstairs, because downstairs it's a lot greasier. There can be dangerous chemicals, there can be dangerous equipment, there's a lot of drop cords involved in a workshop that normally wouldn't be involved in basic home life. And so the series of, yes, and my husband my husband is gesturing over here. There's also creepy crawlies and things of natural order that kind of end up in the underhouse that don't normally end up in the upper story. And in this particular weather that we have right now, which, by the way, Happy New Year's, everybody, it's January the 1st. It's summer, and so what happens is a lot of those same critters end up coming in looking for a cool place to be, and fair enough, it's far too hot out there, so creepy crawlies and things come in for the shade and the cool. So yeah, this is where I kind of end up living myself because it's too hot upstairs. So getting this organized is really important. My main focus today is to talk to you guys a bit more about the lanyard and how to select what you want in the cord itself. This cord is actually too long for me. How to select one really comes down to, say, like the size of your neck and where you want this piece to sit. So, and yes, this is the new color. This may only be for January, but yeah, I decided to go for something different. Last year's was white, and I thought, I'm feeling in a blue mood, and I didn't even notice until I started this video. It matches my shirt almost exactly. So this one, if I stand up out of my seat, you can see it sits way down here. My belly button is here, and I'm thinking, no, that's too long. When I sit down, it actually touches the furniture that I'm sitting on, and this is definitely too long. So normally I go for the children's length, but a lot of the print that's on the child size ones aren't really all that, well, let's just say they're not my taste. They're very youthful, and not youthful in a fun teen sort of way. They're more youthful in, say, like a 6-year-old sort of way. So unfortunately, there's nothing really out there in my taste. Okay, maybe I'm being picky, but I wanted something that said staff because of the studio. So I thought, oh, okay, well, I'll go ahead and get this, and I'm sure I'll figure out some way to resize it. So that's exactly what I did. Today, I just took some time to focus on how to make this the size that I needed. And when I first picked this up, I thought, oh hey, it's a child size that says staff, because the way it was boxed, this much of it was actually looped over, and so I didn't know that there was that much extra in the length, so I thought it'd be okay. So I just looked at it with that folded over, and it kind of works, but it kind of doesn't. So I just decided, okay, well, I'll try to fold this so that the print actually sits the way it should. And then I'll resize it, like I'll test the size again to make sure that I'm actually getting the size that I want. So I'm just gonna make sure that I split this diamond in half here, and then I'm gonna split this diamond in half down here. Oh, that's only that much of that print. So when I find the size that I want, what I'm gonna do is take a clip and hold it together while I put it around my neck and make sure it still fits over my head, because this lanyard does not clip apart at the tail. It still stays in one piece. And if you have one that stays whole when you put it on, then yeah, you definitely want to make sure you're getting the right size going. So how I'm going to do this, now that I've got my print lined up so that it looks flawless, is I'm just going to take this little paper clip and put it on, just so, and then give it a go. And yeah, that's much better. That actually sits with my belly button just there, so it's not nearly as bad. And it doesn't touch the furniture by any stretch of the imagination anymore. So I'm a lot happier with that as my length. So what am I going to do now? Well, I've got this print that I like. I've got it the length I like, but I kind of don't want to be wearing this everywhere. I just realized that clip is blue too. So are my pins. I am in a blue mood. So what I decided to do was have my lovely assistant, my husband, plug in the hot glue gun, and I am going to glue these little sections together, this little sandwich, so that way I can have that permanently together. And I'll show you something, a mistake that I made. I've been a little bit sick lately because we've had the droughts, and then when the drought broke with some of this recent rain we've had, everything just decided to bloom. Because here, plant life doesn't bloom necessarily in one particular time of year. Like, we do have seasons, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the plants are going to just kind of keep a schedule, and it doesn't mean that the trees and the shrubs are either. So yeah, a lot of times if there's a drought and then suddenly it breaks, we get a fair bit of rain, we end up with a late spring. And what this means is everything blooms in summer, or closer to what most people might think of as fall, depending on when the drought actually happens. And so people who would normally suffer, say, spring allergies, end up suffering summer allergies or early fall allergies. And yeah, it's just I think the term here is flora. Yeah, the flora is just very opportunistic. And fair enough, you know, when you live in an extreme ecosystem like this, you're going to get that. So I was a bit sick when I punched the hole for my lanyard, but you can see here, it's really, really close to the top. Like, there's not a lot of plastic there to kind of hold it together, and there's certainly not really any plastic here, and I think it's actually broke through. So if I have to, what I'll do is I'll re-punch these, and I'll just do it upside down. and that'll be fine, because it's, you know, it's not necessarily something for anybody else to read, it's for me. And I can also take maybe a bit of tape if I wanted to and put it over those and repunch that further down. So I have ways of fixing that, and I just wanted you guys to know that you don't necessarily have to throw them away if you make that same mistake. You can just tape over it and repunch it, or you can just punch the other end and it should work just fine. So I'm going to glue this together, and my next video should be about my piercing adventures, because as you can see, I've now got a brow piercing, and I don't know if you guys can see it or not. I've also got a nose piercing that was a bit of an adventure. It was a bit exciting. So I'll let you know how that went, because there's some questions that haven't really been answered on YouTube yet, and I think it's kind of important that people know what they're in for when they go to the piercing technicians, and kind of understand more what it is will be expected of them later on. So thank you for watching. I hope maybe this helps you find a lanyard that's more suitable for your size and choices. I know I talk about this particular journaling method a lot. One of my next journaling one of my next journaling videos, I'll get it out in a minute, is going to be about taking rather affordable little books that you can get from the dollar store that are just lined, and turning them into exercise journals, so you can be tracking your progress for the various bits of fitness that you want to fit into your life, and how you're progressing with that. Catch you next time. Cheers.